Have you ever felt like something massive is about to erupt, but no one dares to tell you the truth? That eerie feeling that the world is spiraling toward a moment it cannot escape. It's not just your imagination. As the ancient tensions between Israel and Iran escalate beyond mere words, what's truly at stake is not politics or power, but prophecy. Timeless words written thousands of years ago, now echoing through our headlines. This is more than global conflict. This is spiritual warfare. The Bible warned us, "For nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains." Matthew 24, 7-8. You're not just watching a news event. You are witnessing the unfolding of divine patterns hidden in plain sight. Forces beyond the visible world are moving. Principalities, deceptions, prophetic signs converging. If you leave this video now, you may never see the full picture. You'll remain in the dark, unaware of how today's events are connected to your soul, your future, and your freedom. But if you stay, you'll uncover the threads that tie modern chaos to ancient revelation. You'll begin to understand why minds are being manipulated, spirits are being tested, and why the final countdown may have already begun. The end of all things is near. Therefore be alert and of sober mind so that you may pray. 1 Peter 4:7. Stay with us. What comes next may shake your understanding of everything. There are stories that the news will never tell you. Beneath the surface of world politics, behind every handshake or threat between nations, lie symbols, ancient echoes, and prophetic warnings that most ignore or simply can't see. But here, on the Alatea Spiritual Channel, we're not here to entertain you. We're here to awaken something deeper within you, to shake your perception of reality. What you're about to hear might not only change the way you see history, it might forever alter the way you understand your place in it. Imagine this. Once upon a time, not too long ago in the 1970s, Israel and Iran weren't enemies. In fact, they quietly stood side by side. While Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi ruled Iran with a golden scepter and an iron fist, cloaked in European luxury, Israel viewed Tehran as one of its few allies in the turbulent Middle East. Their alliance wasn't loud, but it was powerful. Oil flowed from Persia, and military technology returned from Jerusalem. A silent pact between hidden empires, unnoticed by the masses but deeply strategic. But all of that changed in 1979. The Islamic Revolution shook the very soul of Iran. When Ayatollah Khomeini rose to power, he didn't just rewrite politics. He rewrote Iran's spiritual mission. Israel, once an ally, was suddenly labeled a cancerous tumor in the body of Islam. The rhetoric darkened, the relationship shattered, and something more dangerous was born, a shadow war. Not one of tanks and missiles, but of ideologies, secret agents, and proxy bloodshed. Iran began funding groups sworn to Israel's destruction. First Hezbollah, then Hamas. A chess game of destruction began, each move fueled by fire, belief, and ancient hatred. And here's where it gets truly unsettling. According to many interpretations of biblical prophecy, especially the haunting visions in the book of Ezekiel, the Middle East will not simply be the center of attention. It will be the final battlefield. Son of man, set your face against Gog, of the land of Magog, and prophesy against him, Ezekiel 38:2. This isn't just about borders or treaties. This is a spiritual collision between the forces of light and darkness, between those who claim divine favor and those blinded by ambition and rage. It's the very theater where the final acts of this age could unfold. Can you feel it? This is not a geopolitical rivalry. It's a war of worldviews, theocratic regimes and democratic governments, both armed with nuclear fire, each believing they are chosen, each willing to sacrifice everything to fulfill a destiny they think is divine. And in the middle, ordinary people, families, children, victims of spiritual blindness, pawns in a game they never asked to play. As Jesus said, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, But the end is still to come. Matthew 24:6. What we are witnessing may be just the beginning of sorrows, but the signs are converging. The symbols are all around us, and the clock, it is ticking. So I ask you, can you still call these tensions just political? Or are we seeing the shadows of prophecy rising across the earth? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is really happening behind the headlines? Do you believe the end is near? Or is it already unfolding before our eyes? This isn't just another video. This is a wake-up call. Welcome to Alitia Spiritual. There's a battle unfolding, one that most people can't see or choose not to. A war that isn't just being fought with weapons or armies, but with ideologies, prophecies, and ancient expectations. On one side, Israel clings to its messianic hope, the promise of a coming Redeemer, a king who will reign in righteousness from Jerusalem. On the other, Iran waits with a fierce devotion for the arrival of the Mahdi, the Islamic Messiah, destined, in their view, to lead the final war against the enemies of Islam. What's at stake here isn't just military dominance or political territory. It's something far more terrifying, the power to rewrite the ending of the world. You've probably never heard of Stuxnet. It sounds like something out of a science fiction novel, but it was very real. In 2010, this highly sophisticated computer virus, developed secretly by Israel and the United States, slipped into Iran's nuclear facilities and crippled thousands of uranium centrifuges. Not a single bullet was fired. No explosions, no public declarations, and yet it was one of the most effective acts of cyber warfare the world had ever seen. A silent strike, a ghost in the machine. Iran was wounded deeply, but remained quiet, at least on the surface. Behind the silence, things grew darker. One by one, Iranian nuclear scientists began to die. Mysterious car crashes, explosions, assassinations in the night. It was never confirmed by Israel's intelligence agency Mossad, but the message was clear. And the world watched, numbed by the normalization of this subtle, calculated violence. But Iran didn't stay silent for long. It retaliated, not with headlines but with shadows, by funding militias, training fighters, and building underground alliances. From Lebanon to Syria and deep into Gaza, Iran's influence spread like roots through dry earth. Every time the world saw missiles fly between Israel and Hamas, or the violent confrontations with Hezbollah, most people missed the bigger picture. This was never just about territory. This was about a clash between two prophetic blueprints. One, a messianic state believing in divine promise, the other, an apocalyptic republic willing to burn the world to fulfill its vision of judgment. This you were never told on the evening news. And here's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to say out loud. We are already seeing the signs. Sabotage, targeted killings, psychological operations. These are not rumors of war. These are whispers of the end. When they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. So what's missing? What's holding back the outbreak of a full-scale, undeniable, world-shaking war? The answer is frighteningly simple: emotion, a spark, a tragedy, a single moment that breaks the last thread of restraint. And history tells us, when that spark comes, it comes with blood, with grief, and with manipulation so deep that most people won't realize what's happening until it's far too late. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age. Ephesians 6:12. If what you're hearing right now is stirring something in your spirit, if your eyes are beginning to open to the unseen war behind the visible world, then maybe you're starting to understand why we're here. This isn't just information. This is revelation. A wake-up call before the hour grows too dark. So now I ask you, do you believe the world is just going through another political cycle, or are we watching the pieces of prophecy fall into place, one silent move at a time? Let us know what you think. Comment below. Let the world know you're not asleep. because silence might cost more than you realize. Do you really believe this is just about territory, just about enriched uranium, or a nation's right to defend itself? If that were all there was to it, this conflict would have ended long ago. But what's unfolding between Israel and Iran isn't a political dispute. It's a deep symbolic war, a collision of spiritual identities, a clash of sacred narratives, both rooted in ancient promises and apocalyptic urgency. This isn't about who has more missiles or who controls the land. It's about something much older, much holier, and far more dangerous. On one side, Israel, seen by its people as the chosen nation, the bearer of the covenant, the land through which salvation would flow to the world. For the Lord has chosen Zion, he has desired it for his dwelling place. Psalm 132:13. A people shaped by the belief that they are a living part of God's redemptive plan, standing on soil that has been promised, fought for, and anointed. On the other, Iran, driven by a deeply held Shiite prophecy, the belief in the return of the hidden Imam, the Mahdi, a messianic figure who will bring divine justice to the earth. But unlike a passive waiting, this belief comes with a mission: to prepare the way by hastening the end of days. Their leaders are not just planning for war, they are, in their own view, fulfilling destiny. What we're witnessing isn't a fight for dominance, it's a collision of sacred destinies. Both sides believe they are divinely chosen. Both claim they are working for a higher purpose. And maybe that's what makes this so terrifying, because in some strange, unsettling way, both are right and both are wrong. They are right in that their beliefs genuinely shape their reality. These ideologies aren't just political tools. They are faith-driven, worldview-defining convictions that influence every decision, every action, every strike. But they are wrong because this conviction blinds them. It blinds them to the human cost, to the spiritual fallout, to the lives being shattered in the name of a truth no one can fully prove. This isn't religion. This is fanaticism disguised as faith. And while missiles light up the sky, the real war is happening in the shadows, in the minds of the people, in the twisting of scripture to justify control, in the manipulation of fear and hope. They will put you out of the synagogue. In fact, the time is coming when anyone who kills you will think they are offering a service to God. John 16:2. The masses suffer while sacred texts become weapons. And this manipulation doesn't only affect those in the Middle East. It affects all of us. It affects the way we see faith, the way we respond to crisis, the way our spirits are guided or misled. And if you don't wake up now, you risk becoming just another pawn in a spiritual war much bigger than anything the media will ever show you. Have you noticed it? How some events feel like they were spoken long before they happened? I'm not talking about vague predictions or clever guesses. I'm talking about prophecies, ancient words, thousands of years old, that now read like tomorrow's headlines. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. Matthew 24:7. The signs are not coming. They are already here. And maybe you were meant to see this message. Maybe your eyes are being opened because the time of silence is over. So I ask you, how much of what you believe is truly yours, and how much has been shaped by powers that twist truth into tools of control? Share what you're thinking. Let your voice be heard, because this isn't just about history, this is about eternity. What if the headlines of tomorrow were already written thousands of years ago? What if the breaking news you see flashing across your screen isn't just the chaos of modern politics, but the slow, quiet unfolding of a script far older than anyone dares to admit? In the book of Ezekiel, there is a vision, one that speaks of a coalition of nations rising against Israel. Among these lands, many scholars believe, are regions of the East, closely associated with what we now know as Iran and its allies. And in Revelation, we find the chilling prophecy of Armageddon, the final battle, which by no coincidence is set in the valley of Megiddo, a place that today rests within the land of Israel. Coincidence Or could it be that what we're watching on the world stage right now isn't random, but rehearsal? Earthquakes, eclipses, wars, rumors of war. We've seen these signs for years. Some brush them off as coincidence, others as climate or politics, but few dare to look deeper. Because the most terrifying part of prophecy isn't what it says about the world out there, it's what it reveals about us. The true collapse isn't happening in governments or armies. It's happening in the collective human soul. Prophecies are not spoilers. They're not predictions in the Hollywood sense. They're warnings, sacred maps pointing to the patterns of human behavior, showing how our pride, our fear, and our unhealed wounds tend to repeat themselves like a broken cycle. And whether you realize it or not, you're inside that cycle. Right now, you are part of this unfolding story. The chaos outside is simply the mirror of a deeper war within. While leaders stand on podiums predicting fire and vengeance, the real revolution doesn't make noise. It happens quietly, in moments of clarity. It begins when someone, maybe you, refuses to be manipulated. It begins when someone finally sees the pattern for what it is and decides, I won't play that role anymore. Because when you start to understand the script, you no longer have to be an extra in someone else's war. You can become the author of your own chapter. They want you to believe it's all about oil, that the Middle East is simply a battlefield of resources. But what if I told you oil is just the bait? That the real treasure isn't underground, but hidden in plain sight, the soul of humanity. Because this war isn't just about who controls territory, it's about who controls the narrative. The reality you believe is true. Israel has mastered technology, media, and biblical symbolism. Iran wields mysticism, mass faith, and spiritual intensity. But neither is fighting only with weapons. They are fighting with perceptions. And both understand this ancient truth. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. Control belief, and you control behavior. Control faith, and you shape the future. That's why the deadliest weapons today aren't nuclear. They are narrative, ideological, emotional. And here's the question no one dares ask you: which side are you really on? Not politically, spiritually, consciously. Are you awake? Or are you still dreaming that you live in a peaceful democracy while your mind is slowly being bombarded by crafted messages designed to shape your fear, your desires, even your faith? That's what they're fighting for. Your silence, your mind, your surrender. And maybe, just maybe, what you're seeing right now isn't the final war, but only the rehearsal for something far more total. Because while you scroll, watch, argue, or take sides, someone is writing the next war. And this time, it may not be fought between nations, but between realities, between versions of truth, between the illusion that comforts and the truth that wounds. In the end, the conflict between Israel and Iran is just a reflection, a mirror held up to every one of us, a brutal, honest image of the war we all carry inside. It's easy to condemn fanatics and corrupt governments, but the real challenge, facing the fanatic inside you, the one who would rather cling to a comforting lie than confront a painful truth, the one who believes fiercely, but never pauses to ask, why do I believe this? As long as we hand over our consciousness to politicians, religions, ideologies, without question, without inner discernment, we will remain soldiers in wars we never chose. And worse, we will keep fueling a cycle that doesn't end in peace, but in repetition, because the real war is spiritual, and your most powerful weapon is clarity. Therefore, let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober, as Thessalonians 5:6. So tell me, are you awake?